Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're here today to sign House Bill number 35 to finish off the great work of Representative Val Longhurst and Senator Pinckney. One of Senator Pinckney's first piece of legislation, I would think. We're delighted to have her on this important piece of legislation. They're going to speak in a minute and lead us off. We're also joined by Jen Davis, who works with the Department of Education with Student Services and Special Populations. Terry Lawler is with us from DOE, Trauma-Informed Practices and Social and Emotional Learning, so relevant to the awards that we're talking about today. To Kristen Dwyer from DSEA, who's also brought with her Chrissy Hall as the Vice President of the School Counselors Association, and Eric Pizzini, who's the President of the Delaware Association of School Psychologists. Thank you all for joining us. We're here to sign this legislation. As I said a minute ago, I failed to mention that Pam is with us as well, who's our sign language expert for the deaf and hard of hearing, is with us on a regular basis. I'm going to turn the microphone, if you will, over to Representative Longhurst, Senator Pinckney, and the other guests that we have to talk about this really important piece of legislation, a piece of legislation that recognizes educational professionals that are increasingly important in our efforts to make sure that every child in our state has an opportunity to get the education they need to be successful in our state and in our world. So Representative Longhurst, again, thank you for your leadership. Take it away.
Thank you, Governor, and I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to sign this bill, this very well-needed bill that we need in the state of Delaware. And Senator Pinckney, I truly appreciate all your work and effort that you put into this bill, and it's a pleasure working with you and partnering with you on such important legislation. Also, Kristen Dwyer for helping draft the piece of legislation for DSEA. You're definitely a champion for the behavioral health professionals. And Eric and Chrissy, thank you for all the hard work that you do for our children in the state of Delaware. If it weren't for you, our children would not have the services that they need. So I've been in the General Assembly for a few years. And in those few years, I've had the opportunity to sit through many General Assemblies when we recognize the Teacher of the Year. And it's always very interesting and inspiring when the Teacher of the Year comes to the General Assembly and shares their story and tells us what they've done in the school that has made them the Teacher of the Year. And I've been able to hear some wonderful stories over the years, but the last couple of years, I've spent a lot of time in the behavioral health service field, touring up and down the state. And what I recognize is that we have heroes out there, and we have heroes that are not being recognized. They are the heroes that are dealing with our children from all sorts of walks of life, up and down the state. Our school psychologists, our social workers, our nurses, everybody in the behavioral health field. And I thought it was time that we recognize the work that you do, especially during this time that we have the pandemic. We know that we're going to have more challenges in the school year. And it's important that you are out there. It's important that you're in the school. It's important that you're working with our children. And when they go back to school in September, you're going to have a big challenge. And you know that because you know what you're dealing with today. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the hard work and dedication that you give to our state. I recognize the work that you do, and I appreciate the work that you do and that you continue to do it. But it's time in our state that we recognize that. So we put together the Behavioral Health Professional of the Year Award, which is the same type of award that the Teacher of the Year receives. And I'm hoping with this award that it will come out how much that you are valued in our state and how much you give back to us. I can't tell you how much that I appreciate your work and that you continue doing your work. And we have a lot of other bills that we want to do to recognize you and to give you your support, and we'll continue to do that. Senator Pinckney is in your field, and she knows what goes on and what we don't see in the classrooms. And therefore she is a big advocate for you also. I know it's her first year and it's one of her first bills of many that I'm sure she will have. But I just want to personally thank each and every one of you for all the hard work that you do. And today, when Governor signs this bill, I hope you know that and recognize how important you are to our state and to our children. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Longhurst. Thanks for your leadership on this bill. Thanks for your leadership around the issues of social emotional learning with supporting our school counselors and social workers, as you said, other behavioral health specialists. Senator Pinckney, this is one of your first bills, if not your first. Welcome to the Delaware State Senate, the General Assembly, doing the good work of the people of our state and your district. Thanks for your leadership on this bill as well.
Thank you, Governor Carney. Yes, this is my first official bill and bill signing, but I do look forward to keeping you busy. So keep a pen ready and waiting for me. There you go. Representative Longhurst, thank you so much for allowing me to join you in this legislation, and to all of our partners joining us on this call. Thank you for the work that you all do on the ground with people every day. As Representative Longhurst mentioned, I'm a social worker, and from the moment I stepped foot in my first class in undergraduate school, have loved this profession, and that has not changed. It's wavered and it's made me tired, but it's never broken me, and I love the work that we do. Excuse me, but one of the things that I do recognize about the mental health and behavioral health profession is that ours is one that is often overlooked and underappreciated. We do some of the most emotionally taxing work. We work with some of the most vulnerable communities. And so often our contributions to the profession and to to society at large does not get the credit that it deserves. We work in a profession that if you hope to make any type of a livable wage, you need to have a graduate level degree, which means increased amounts of student loan debt. We work in a profession that we're often drowning in paperwork, but smiling as we do. We work in a profession that changes people's lives. And it's my honor to be able to sponsor this legislation to just say a simple thank you for all of the mental and behavioral health professionals out there who touch people's lives on a daily basis. We carry the weight of the world with us. We carry the support of the community with us. And I thank you all for the work that you do. And I'm so honored and so thankful to be able to co-sponsor this legislation, just to give a simple thank you to the people who change people's lives every day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Pinckney. Thank you for the great work that you do as a social worker in the healthcare arena. Thank you for recognizing the very difficult circumstances that our behavioral health professionals in our schools encounter on a daily basis. And we know that they often are the difference between students being successful and not, and incredibly important. So this is an incredibly important award. We have Jen Davis with us, who is the Education Associate responsible for student services and special populations at the Department of Education. That's a mouthful. Jen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Governor Carney. I'm sorry Secretary Bunting couldn't be here today. But I'm honored to represent her on her behalf. As a former school counselor and one of the people who supports behavioral health professionals at the department, I'm fortunate to see firsthand the amazing impact that these professionals have on their schools, students, and families. With the needs of students growing and becoming more complex, especially during the time of COVID, we welcome any opportunity to recognize the critical work of our behavioral health professionals. Therefore, we're thankful to Representative Longhurst and Senator Pinckney for bringing forth this legislation, and thank you to all the behavioral health professionals out there for all the work you do for Delaware's students and families every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Also with us is Terry Lawler, who's leading our efforts to become a trauma-informed state on the education side. Terry, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Governor. I am honored to be here with Jen, representing Secretary Bunting, and I am doubly honored because I was Delaware School Psychologist of the Year in 2010. And know firsthand how valuable the behavioral health professionals are and what they add to our school communities. Well-being in Delaware schools has always been important. However, the last year has reinforced the need to connect the dots more meaningfully on a number of our priorities: trauma-informed practices, universal strategies for whole child well-being, student social competence, and emotional development in particular. The three most important aspects of learning are attention, focus, and memory, and all are controlled by our emotions. The social, emotional, and behavioral health of students is dependent upon the resilience of the adults in their lives. So we have conceptualized all of our work around community resilience. I'd like to thank you, Representative Longhurst and Senator Pinckney, for recognizing that and bringing forth this very important legislation to celebrate excellence in service delivery for our school behavioral health professionals.
Thank you very much, Terry. When Eric joined us today and said he was the president of the Delaware Association of School Psychologists, it hit me close to my heart because my father, as I mentioned earlier on, was a school psychologist back in the day in the old Mount Pleasant School District, and then went on to work in the former Wilmington School District as a school psychologist and as an administrator in charge of nurses, psychologists, social workers, essentially behavioral health professionals. So Eric, thanks for joining us, and thanks for the work of your organizations and the members of your association.
Thank you, Governor Carney, for looking and signing at this bill, as well as I want to give thanks to Senator Pinckney and Representative Longhurst for your tireless work supporting us educational professionals, both in the behavioral health field and otherwise. School psychologists, counselors, social workers, and nurses really work tirelessly to support those social emotional well-being of our students. In being able to represent school psychologists, I get to hear the daily work being done across the state from other psychologists supporting those academic, social, emotional, and behavior needs. Often, as mentioned before, it's a thankless job. We're not the ones that get maybe the Christmas presents or things like that on the holidays. But something like this bill recognizing Behavioral Health Professional of the Year really does show the governor and the state's commitment to behavioral health support professionals and the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. As these mental health challenges increase, especially in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic, these professionals will be key to kind of helping students work through this traumatic time and move forward in their educational and just world situations. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. You're right that up till now, the folks that are part of your association, behavioral health professionals, don't get the recognition maybe that they deserve, but they will now as a result of this piece of legislation. We'll have a big celebration. We'll stand up folks that have done great work like Terry as a leader in her field just a couple years ago. And it'll be, we'll be able to show people, the folks that are on the ground making things happen and addressing these issues and problems. Chrissy Hall is also with us, the Vice President of the School Counselors Association. Chrissy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Governor Carney. Thank you to Representative Longhurst and to Senator Pinckney for your support and sponsorship of this bill. I'm honored to be here representing the Delaware School Counselor Association. We appreciate all of the support that our state is doing and recognizing the importance of mental health professionals like school counselors, school psychologists, school nurses, and our school social workers. For all of the hard work that we do every day in our school. We focus on academic, the social, emotional, college and career. And we just really appreciate all of your support for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy, Eric, Terry, Jen, Representative Longhurst, Senator Pinckney. This is a special day for behavioral health professionals in our education system, for the education of children in our state. And importantly for Senator Pinckney, her first bill. Usually in a normal situation, we'd have lots more people here.
Yeah.
And we'd really take you through the ringer, Senator Pinckney. Today, we're just plenty of pens where this came from for all the other legislation that you're going to introduce and move through the General Assembly. We congratulate you today for this piece of legislation. Of course, Representative Longhurst, thank you for your leadership on these issues today and every day. And it's my privilege to end and cap off, if I will, that great work by signing House Bill 35.